Throwback session on the Mecca podcast on Rover Sports at Shenk and Spence, and we are back. And you know what, Shenk, we started this thing off on YouTube 2 years ago, and we never are going to quite give up our dream, man. As long as I'm still breathing, I'm going to talk Giants football with my best friend, with my guy, Matt Shenko. And Shenk, how are you, man? And just talk about your mood the last couple of days with this Giants football team.
Wow. I'm speechless right now. When I watch everything that's going on, and I hope you guys are doing great out there tonight, and like enjoying your Thursday. It's almost Friday, so I'm very excited about that as well. And it's very very humbling and very exciting. But yeah, I don't want to keep talking some small talk here, but I'm in state of disbelief and shock. Like, this is a very sad time. Words cannot describe this move that the Giants. Anybody who's been living under a rock, Eli Manning has been benched for Geno Smith. The two-time Super Bowl winning MVP quarterback, Eli Manning, with 211 NFL starts, is losing his job to a perennial backup quarterback in the NFL. And it's mind-boggling because when I watch Eli Manning in that press conference tearing up and him losing his job because of his, the team is doing so bad, and it's just so sad. You see tears in his eyes, and it's really the wrong way for this organization to treat Eli Manning the way he's brought us to the promised land two times and got us to witness Super Bowl's championship twice. And it's very sad. And I just don't understand. Like, they did Tom Coughlin dirty. Now they're doing Eli Manning dirty. It's very sickening, very disheartening. It makes me not even want to be a Giants fan anymore. It's really that sickening. And, it's amazing because this whole management and front staff are just horrible, because when you look at, this year, for example, of all the players that quit on each play, Janoris Jenkins, Eli Apple quitting, Odell Beckham, basically urinating in the end zone. And you don't bench any of those guys, but you bench Eli, your two-time Super Bowl winning MVP quarterback. It's mind-boggling to its own matter, and I can't fathom it. I mean, it's very I don't even want to be a Giants fan anymore because of this whole situation. It's really turned me off, and it really frustrates me so much, and I just feel it's so much disrespect to all levels, as me being a Giants fan.
Shenko, I think that the reason that we are Giants fans is because this organization's always been just better than even the average organization, or this organization has always stood for class and tradition. And that's what really made you. It makes, our family members, our blood relatives. I'm born after the man that I'm born for is a Giant season ticket holder. So it's literally in my blood. Your father's a diehard Giants fan. We've grown up and we just love the tradition. Heck, we don't even have cheerleaders. We have no gimmicks. It's our organization from 1925 is all about the tradition, the class, treating guys the right way. And Shenko, O.C. Umenyiora and Justin Tuck, it tells you everything you need to know about the Giants when they come home and they sign those one-day contracts after going to Oakland. They come home to retire as Giants, When you get enshrined into the Giants, once a Giant, forever a Giant, Even Chase Blackburn, remember when he came back in the middle of the year, he stopped, teaching classes because the Giants needed help. And the Maras have lost their way somewhere along the line, Shenko. That's what's so frustrating. It's like the Maras, I honestly, for my life, I've trusted these guys. These guys have made really good decisions, classy decisions. And it's like they completely just mentally have lost their way of treating people with respect and treating people the right way. And with Eli Manning, a two-time Super Bowl champion, Eli Manning is everything Giants football, and to cast him away like he's some kind of practice squad member, it's beyond comprehension. And it's almost like an act of evil. And you're absolutely right, man. If Eli went to Jacksonville, I'd be the first one to don the Jaguars jersey, because I can't recognize this ownership group. I can't recognize these Giants anymore, pal.
No, and you really can when you make these moves like this. I mean, I know that Tom Coughlin, he needed to move on, from the coaching realms, and the way they basically, forced him out and not even let him walk out on his own terms was really a huge red flag even to me at the time.
Yeah, did he not shake their hand or something?
Yeah, absolutely. He didn't shake their hand. I feel like it would have been much better if it would have offered Tom Coughlin a front office position, like a higher up position, because I know he probably didn't want to coach that much anymore, because, since he meant so much to that Giants organization, one of the most winningest coaches in Giants history outside of Bill Parcells. And for what they did, put a really bad taste in Tom Coughlin's mouth. And going forward, a lot of people have been saying, this could be Eli's last year. It's not. Well, I look at this season, it's a complete dead wash, obviously, for all the reasons, so many levels, huge, utter disappointment. But when you look at this team going forward, I understand, sometimes you have to make the move, for you to really, see what else you got. But if you're going to make the move, please don't make it for Geno Smith, for the love of God's sake. You know what Geno Smith is. He's not going to be this heir apparent to Eli Manning at all.
Correct.
And it really just raises so much red flags to me that everybody is just pointing at it's Eli's fault for this benching, because nobody in the right mind would survive under these awful circumstances when you have a poor offensive line, you haven't had a running game for years, all of your wide receivers are hurt right now. And when you have those three things that are not working for you, of course you're not going to have any success. I don't care who you put back there. You can put Tom Brady. You can put Drew Brees back there, Phillip Rivers. It doesn't matter. You're not going to survive. And nobody can survive in this really lackluster team. And I put it right back onto our general manager, Jerry Reese, for making these picks, because his picks from 3 to 7 rounds over the past couple of years have been god-awful terrible. I mean, these guys just can't play. They're quitting on plays. They don't even want to play for this coach anymore. They don't even believe in Ben McAdoo anymore. So for the Giants front staff to make this Eli move, and plus for him to have a potential to back Ben McAdoo for what he's been doing over the past couple weeks, I don't know where this team is going. But, all I know is if Ben McAdoo is still the coach, January 1st and foremost going forward, I will no longer be watching this team. I will be boycotting this team. There's no reason for me to watch. Ben McAdoo is not the it factor that the Giants need. They need a complete overhaul, culture change, and it starts with Odell Beckham. It starts with Jerry Reese. It starts with Mara. He needs to get his head out of his ass and say, hey, listen, we're in a debacle right now. We need a culture change, and it starts now. And it's really upsetting to me being a diehard Giants fan in Philadelphia, and I'm really just tired of this mediocrity that I've been witnessed for this season. And we had so much expectations this year. For us to be 2-9 is unacceptable over any level. Ridiculous, unacceptable.
So you threw a lot. I agree with almost all your points, and I appreciate, obviously, your points. I look at the blame, and I think that there's so much blame to be given to John Mara, because John Mara didn't even communicate with Eli yesterday. And some people have been saying, well, the new coach might keep Eli around. But you saw Eli Manning yesterday, and the guy was in tears. And McAdoo said that he, met with the owners. First of all, if McAdoo went around the owners, it's like Ben McAdoo can like get away with beating the crap out of a player, and the Mariners won't fire him until after the year. It's like this whole dumb, this whole tradition thing of they won't fire a coach mid-year. McAdoo is fracturing the fan base. He knows he's gone, and he's just, throwing crap up against the wall right now, and he's actually creating such a rift, and it's really turning ugly. And I look at the Giants, Shenko, and I'm not ready to push the panic button. I know that this is a different sentiment than you, but I look at the LA Rams, and the Rams are kind of what I think the Giants are. I think the Giants have very good defensive personnel. The Rams were a team that had Jeff Fisher. The players quit on the coach, and that's why they got blasted, in embarrassing ways. Todd Gurley called it a high school offense. And no one could see a 31-year-old guy walking in the door, and now the Rams are going to be like an 11 or 12-win team. No one saw that happening. No one saw the talent. They wanted to run the general manager out in L.A., Les Snead. So I look at Jerry Reese. I actually think that Ben McAdoo is calling the shots. Like Howie Roseman, how many great moves Howie made? Well, Chip Kelly was the dictator, and Chip Kelly stuffed Howie Roseman like in a locker when Chip was here. I think it's all on Ben Mac. Really, mostly all of it is the owners for not getting rid of Ben McAdoo. Completely agree with you on Geno Smith. He's not here for us in the future. It's Davis Webb. It's going to be our first-round pick, and it's going to be Eli. Geno's had his time with the New York Jets. He's a placeholder quarterback who's slow, and there's no reason at all to trot him out there. And it's really, to me, it's all Ben McAdoo's fault. He doesn't get along with his players. He's one of the worst communicators that we've ever had. And the ownership group, just the handling of Odell Beckham, like you mentioned, the Miami boat trip was a microcosm for what Odell's all about in this me-first attitude. And dude, look at Alshon Jeffrey and the Eagles. I mean, who did the Rams have that's a great wide receiver? Who did the Vikings have that's an Odell talent? You don't need a tremendous wide receiver. Heck, I even think on the New Orleans Saints, Michael Thomas is pretty good, but for goodness sakes, you do not need an Odell Beckham to win a Super Bowl, period. Alshon Jeffrey isn't doing crap. Nelson Aguilar, a great coach, a very solid quarterback in a running game, and you can have an offense, Shenko. I look at I know I'm throwing a lot out at you, but I'm fine with moving on from Odell. I'm fine getting rid of Mac and Odell, and that would be my hope and my dream, actually, is for that to occur, because then we have Shepard, Evan Ingram, King, Marshall will probably be gone, but then we're going to draft another wide receiver in the first 2 rounds, and we'll be okay.
Yeah, and to add to your point with everything that's been said here, I just want to see things change, and I hope to God you do see it. You
feel hopeless with this ownership group, right? It's like you're banging your head against a wall with this ownership group.
I know they don't tolerate any failure whatsoever, but when you look at this, the way they've been, handling all situations with Tom Coughlin, the way he ousted him, and now Eli disrespecting him, it makes me question me as a Giants fan, as the brass. I don't know where your head's at right now. I can't begin to describe. I said this again earlier, and I still can't figure it out. I just don't see. I mean, there's a huge disconnect. So the other day, Mara said that he was even out of the office when the Eli Manning decision was made. So that to me is a huge red flag to me. There's a huge disconnect there. Why was the Mara not in the office when the Eli Manning basically was being benched? So that to me doesn't make any sense.
You think he knew about it or he didn't?
I don't know, because you don't know what happens behind closed doors. So if Ben
Mac did that, then the guy's got to get fired.
He has to. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, I feel like it's just a media scam that, Mara is just saying, oh, we have the full support of Ben McAdoo. But, it's just going to cause guys like me and you to have an uproar about it.
Well, Eli's crying. So, put it this way. What I would have said if I was John Mara is we have to let this coach go to the end of the year. I would have told Eli this. We have to let the coach go to the end of the year. You're our guy for the next 2 years. You're going to start. And we might draft a quarterback, but you're going to be the starter, and we're getting rid of McAdoo. That's the first thing I would have said because Eli is more important than Ben McAdoo in this case. And also, Shenko, it makes no sense for Davis Webb to go out and play games because the Giants are not keeping Ben McAdoo next year, so the playbook's going to be different. He'll be running a completely different offense. So the reps he's going to get basically amount to just no progress at all.
Yeah, I do agree with that as well. I mean, I was kind of disappointed when Davis Webb wasn't going to be playing, this game or maybe in the foreseeable future.
Sure, I mean, he's playing against NFL speed. I mean, of course, the Geno thing is ridiculous. But
I can't fathom it. I can't understand it. I'll never understand it.
It's wrong. It's wrong with Eli Manning. Completely wrong, though. You wait till the end of the year. You treat your players with respect. No one's going to want to play for your organization now. And Shenko, as a Giants fan, I have trouble supporting the New York Giants with the way I can't support a team led by Ben McAdoo that treats probably our childhood hero and a guy that Eli Manning is just everything right in the universe, in the NFL. He is like a golden child, and it's because Eli is all class in everything he does. I mean, it's almost impossible to go for the New York media circus and be unblemished like the kid is. It is unfreaking believable how they treated him, and I can't root for my New York Giants if they're going to be this classless.
Right, and when you look at Ben McAdoo as a guy, we were all excited 2 years ago when he was coming on, and it just shows you that the Giants panicked because at the time the Eagles were looking for a new head coach, so were the Giants, and the Eagles had an opportunity. They interviewed McAdoo for the job, and I feel like this was just a panic. A major panic and by the Giants brass and organization. They wanted to just hire Ben McAdoo to be able to, lure him away from the Eagles because he was very close to even going to the Eagles. Kind of reminds me of Dirk Cutter situation for the Buccaneers because they didn't want to lose Dirk Cutter. And look at Dirk Cutter now; he stinks up the joint in Tampa Bay. Right. Same goes with Ben McAdoo, and the culture that he has. He's a stick figure in the locker room. He's non-motivating guy. He's not going to fire anybody up. And when you look at this team now, where it stands, the lack of talent that they have at a lot of positions, there's a huge disconnect. I mean, there's no excuse for you to become 2-9. I mean, I'm actually going to take that back. There's no excuse for you to be 2-9 and have all this talent, with, Odell Beckham, Sterling Shepard, you have Darkwa, who's good, Gallman, and
Justin Pugh, Weston Richburg, you sign the line's not very good. Evan Ingram's a talent though. After the Giants selected Evan Ingram,
sometimes he can't even ball either because he drops balls here and there. He's not looking automatic.
When the Giants selected Evan Ingram, this is how crazy people were thinking. They said Eli Manning in this offense now is going to explode with Evan Ingram. And Evan Ingram's a talent as a hybrid. But the defense is really that's where you see the disconnect with the guys getting suspended, DRC, Janoris Jenkins getting suspended. That is why I think it's all a mental thing. And I'm not incredibly disappointed in Jerry Reese because he took the worst defense in football and made it into a good defense. Sure, Jerry Reese has messed up so much. I think the Eli Apple looks like a mess up. Eric Flowers is the biggest missed draft pick in the history of our team. David Wilson was a mess up. The offensive line, the whole character of the football team. The Evan Ingram pick was even a bad pick at that. So, but I look at Jerry Reese, and I still think he's a nice, good character that won a Super Bowl with us. I still think he's one of ours, and I appreciated him building back the defense, spending money to get Jenkins and
who can't play, by the way,
Landon Collins, Casillas. JPP was signed, and he played very well last year. Olivier Vernon really actually looks like
prone.
Yeah, he was good. Everybody was good last year. My gosh, I guess where do we go from here, Matt? I mean,
exactly. I was just going to ask you this question. You're just feeding into it, but for your next head coach of the New York Football Giants, because it's inevitable. it's going to happen. The Giants they're going to oust McAdoo. I'd be shocked if they didn't. And with the next head coach, yeah, I am done if it's not going to happen. But I feel that with McAdoo, gone. Who do you see as predicting the next NFL coach, head football coach for the Giants? Who do you like to see, instill that culture in that locker room? They would bring back the good days, the early 2000s, with the good years that we had. So I just want to get your take on who you think would best fit, this role right now for the football Giants going forward.
There's two guys. If it was my dream hire and I can get anyone in the world, it would be John Gruden.
Yes. Oh, man, that would be awesome. I would love that.
It would be Chucky. And I'll tell you why it's Chucky, because John Gruden is 1,000,000% the complete opposite personality of McAdoo. And, of course, it's our luck. The Eagles could have been screwed with McAdoo. They would have been buried and done. Ironically, Chip and McAdoo are almost like the same just jerk personalities. And, like, Ben McAdoo, he can't relate to these players at all. There's no camaraderie. You saw the Yahoo report where guys saying that he runs them into the ground on Saturday before playing a football game. He has no regard for anyone's personality. He's a robotic kind of cold hard. He's evil, okay? He's like an evil guy. And John Gruden's the complete opposite. He's a laughing, fun-loving, incredibly nice, nurturing, just really kind guy that you're going to rally behind. He's from the Sean McVay tree. Chucky is just – Chucky would unite this thing in a second, okay? And you need a coach that the players love playing for, that's a veteran, that is a player's coach and people really like him. Another choice – I'm going to get to just the dream hires that probably won't happen. Jim Harbaugh of Michigan's another guy.
Ooh, really?
I'm a huge Harbaugh fan. He loves Eli Manning. He plays such physical football. So this is what I want. A guy to unify the team and a guy that plays physical, run the football, traditional kind of football that will that plays like a pro style instead of this West Coast, weak ass shit, so
right.
That's why Jim Bob Cooter I would not like, because if you watch the Lions, they throw it all too much. So Jim Harbaugh, let me give you two more, okay?
All right, go ahead.
I'm going to say David Shaw, and then in the NFL, believe it or not, Matt LaFleur is a guy who works with the LA Rams right now. He's a pretty solid coordinator, Matt LaFleur.
What about the Michigan State coach?
D'Antonio?
Yes. I know we were talking about him 2 years ago when the Giants' open vacancy was open.
Oh, man, he is tough.
But I'll tell you what, I'm not a big fan of the whole Harbaugh, coming back to the NFL because, I understand that Harbaugh, he had success at the NFL ranks. He took the Niners to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And I just feel like he's like a coach, I feel like he'll never get over the hump. Because, he kind of struggled after getting to the Super Bowl. And, he was basically ousted out of the Niners, and then he went to Michigan. Yeah, he has, pretty good seasons, for the Wolverines. But, he's kind of digressed, in the last couple of years as the Michigan coach. The talent has gone down. Not a lot of – I understand a lot of players leave. I understand that.
It's a little bit his fault, though. But Jed York and the Niners was a jerk-off to Harbaugh. And Jim is a very, the thing is, his players love him.
I feel like he's just more of a college coach and not an NFL coach. I think
right now.
There. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
His quarterback evaluation, he doesn't have any talented quarterbacks. Unfortunately, it is Jim's fault that he can't evaluate the quarterback, which, come on, Harbaugh, you played quarterback. That should be the one thing you do. Shenko, look at Jarrett Stidham, right? Look at Auburn.
Ooh.
All you need is a quarterback, bro. That's all you need.
Exactly. And I love Stidham as a quarterback. We could talk, college football. We will get to college football because it's going to get really exciting this week.
Heck yeah. How about this name? I'm on this topic. I got to throw this name out there. The Giants are a team right now with Eli. Like, I thought that Kubiak and Wade Phillips were guys that, like, unified the team real quick, were very professional, like, got everybody on the same page, were serious. A guy that players love, if you get an offensive coordinator, call me crazy, but I'm talking about a 3-year plan with Eli Manning, okay? I'm not talking about the next 15-year head coach. That's John Gruden or a young guy. I look at this team, I'm ready to win right now. I'm in a win-now mode with Eli Manning. I think Wade Phillips is a guy that players would love, and I think Wade, who runs a great defense, would come in here, and with Eli Manning, we could take one shot. Wade Phillips can then leave in 3 years, and then we get a chance to hire like a David Shaw for the next 15 years after Eli is retired.
That's a good move to say. I mean, you obviously want to ride Eli to the end, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't see Eli maybe even being back because, the way they've been treating him. Like, if you're Eli Manning, why would you even want to come back to this mess? That's basically you're sending a message.
It's the owners, right?
Fine. That they don't want you back at all. They want to look for the future.
That's what's sad. I disagree with that.
And I disagree with that. They didn't surround him with the talent that he deserved, because nobody can flourish. So I hope he goes to the Jaguars or the Broncos, and I'll support him 100%. I hope he kicks the shit out of the Giants, and I hope he does because that's what the Giants deserve, after the way they treat them.
Yeah, and I think Eli would teach the Josh Rosen or whoever the first round pick is and Davis Webb. Davis Webb even says Eli's such a great teammate. I learn from him every day. Like, just keep those guys like in the rookie, for 2 years, just keep them on the bench, and they'll learn.
Yep.
And get a coach. You just need a unifier. And that's why I want to see Eli stay. And that's why I'm so pissed at the ownership group because their communication, like you said, we can't control this thing. The owners have lost their way with this franchise, and it's classless, and it's everything that we don't stand for, bro. It's everything we don't stand for.
And, I'm getting kind of tired of talking about it because it's just like nothing's going to change. We could talk about this till we're blue in our face, but I kind of want to just jump gears right now, if you don't mind right now.
I want to hear your coaching choices and what you would do with the Giants for the offseason. And then we can go. Did you want to talk college after that?
Yes.
But I need to hear your coaching choices. I need to hear if you're going to keep Jerry Reese. And I need to hear who's going to be the quarterback next year and how good this Giants team can be next year.
I'll tell you what. I think that next year I would love to see, Eli come back because, he means so much to our franchise and everybody that belongs to the Giants organization. And, I just want to see him back. But if he doesn't come back, I totally respect him for not wanting to come back. And, when you look at this team now, definitely needs a culture change. I feel like McAdoo obviously should go. Clean house, like I said before. Jerry Reese, start from the ground up. Have a different culture change. I feel like Mara, I wish he could sell this team for how poorly he's treated our Giants greats over the past 2 or 3 years. But for coaching, I would love to see, there's so many guys who I'd like to see. A lot of the guys that we've said, maybe I don't really want to go that route of, a really hot on the spot coordinator that's been doing really well, that deserves the chance. We gave that opportunity to Ben McAdoo. That obviously didn't pan out very well. But I just feel like with our candidates out there, there's going to be a lot out there. But, I know it's very early to talk about it, but I'll give you an answer on our next podcast because I'm going to do some more research on that. Sure. And, as I really couldn't give you an answer right now because there's so many that I could.
There's so many like, McDaniels, Leslie Frazier. You just need a guy that has a great presence. That's all. Like, look at Sean McVay. I think presence and chemistry is the first thing. And then I like heavy run game too.
Absolutely. You need that. You need that in the locker room.
O-line improvement and a commitment to running the ball out of the eye.
Yes, you need that. You need just going back to that old Giants football that everybody knows, from the old. So that I hope that happens, and we'll see
Exactly.
how it goes.
Exactly. You can bring up the next topic, Shank, of the
But
yeah.
yeah, man, I wanted to jump into our next topic here. It's really exciting. One of the most exciting weekends in sports. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. It's December. It's bowl season, baby, and we're talking about some of the biggest names in college football playing this weekend. Basically, winning you're in, baby, and the loser goes home. So I just want to jump right in, man. I mean, obviously the SEC championship game. Obviously, the winner's going to go on to there, Clemson, Miami, or I'm sorry, the SEC. I'm sorry, SEC championship. Obviously, Georgia, Auburn going to be a dogfight to the end. Then you have the ACC winner of that's in Clemson, Miami. Obviously, then you have Oklahoma, number 3, playing TCU. Oklahoma should take care of business that game, but who knows if TCU could pull off an upset. I could see that happening as well. You never know in college football. Then you have another interesting game, Wisconsin at Ohio State. I was talking about this earlier in our in our pregame meeting, for this podcast.
Mhm.
It's I could see Wisconsin struggle that game. I mean, I don't see how they're going to muster up enough offense to be able to, keep up with that Urban Meyer's offense they've got. I mean, they could just, score at will. This Ohio State team, they've proven it, over this year. And I just want to get your take on the college football playoff this weekend, how it's going to shape up, and what are your biggest, headlines going into this weekend?
Absolutely, Matt. I think that, well, right now, what the committee would want is they want Wisconsin to win. Because if Wisconsin wins, the 4 is saved. The 4 is going to be perfect. I know some might disagree, but I think SEC and ACC are playing games, so the winner gets in. And then I haven't even fathomed having Baker Mayfield lose to that TCU team with Kenny Hill. Like, I just don't really see it. I would be stunned if it happened. I mean, it's an early kickoff. They have a good defense. It's so funny, Shenko, like the Big 12 for a long time, like maybe 8 years, they didn't have a championship game because, and a lot of times it would come back to hurt them because, they didn't get that extra boost from the committee, the Big 12 teams. But now it's so unnecessary because Oklahoma, they have nothing to gain in this spot at all. But I think Oklahoma's going to win. And then I think those 2 games, the Auburn, Georgia, and Miami, Clemson, those are playing games. And I can give my predictions in a second, but I really do. It's so funny, Shenko. If I was a Wisconsin Badger fan, I would actually be happy that JT Barrett is playing against the Badgers, especially we saw with Cardale Jones, like you can catch lightning in a bottle. And that Haskins kid, there's no film on that Haskins kid. And Haskins is athletic, great arm, really kind of scary player to play against. Maybe they'll have some packages. Ohio State's dangerous. They're a 7-point favorite in this game. And if Ohio State wins, to me, Shenko, they should be in over 11-1 Alabama because Bama in the SEC, I know we love the SEC, that conference was down this year. Florida State was supposed to be a huge win. It was not. Mississippi, Arkansas, LSU, Tennessee, LSU's okay. Mississippi State is pretty good. There's not a lot of wins on that Alabama schedule, and Ohio State, man, Michigan State, they won like 51-0. They beat Penn State. I know Iowa happened, but they're a different team now beating Wisconsin than Iowa. Iowa's a tough place to play. You got to reward the team that's balling out at the end of the year. So
I understand that, late in the year, they're balling out. That's why Auburn is, obviously so high. I mean, They've beaten, the top 2 or the top team in the past, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Exactly. They're not the team that played Clemson, man. They're not. They're a different team.
I agree, but, obviously you got to put them ahead because, obviously they beat them head-to-head. So I agree that Auburn's being 2 and Clemson 1. But, for Ohio State to be over Alabama. I understand, like, I have a little bit of Alabama bias as well. Their schedule has not been that good this year. But I just can't see how you can give it to Ohio State because of the way they've lost their two really poor losses. Losing to an unranked Iowa team, not even losing to Iowa, getting embarrassed at Iowa, getting blown out 55-24. That's just utter embarrassment to, no escalating whatsoever. And then you also had your loss, another humiliating loss to, I believe it was Michigan State.
They lost to the Sooners.
Or I'm sorry. They lost to Sooners. They were at home and they got embarrassed. And I do remember
good.
I mean, the Sooners are good, but they lost by, double-digit touchdowns that game.
Sooners are a playoff team, and Shenko, everybody has their slip-up. Clemson lost to Syracuse, and Miami just lost to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but Clemson lost without their starting quarterback. Their starting quarterback got hurt. You were over my house watching that game before we went out. Right. But, when you look at this Auburn Tiger team, they're peaking at the right time. Their losses aren't really as bad as people say they are. That's why they're ranked so high right now. Right. And I'm really excited for Auburn for what they're going to prove this weekend, if they're really contenders or pretenders. And I feel like this weekend it's going to be a nail biter, to the end, to the grind. And I just really like, I'm going to make my prediction right now. I'm going with Georgia this game because there's so much, revenge coming right now for the squad for Georgia. They got embarrassed a couple weeks ago against the Tigers, and I feel like this could be a different way for them. Huge revenge game for them. This is at basically their home turf in Atlanta, and watching them, I just feel like it's going to be a whole different ball game at Atlanta. And I feel like I really like Georgia to be in. I feel like it's going to be close, 27-24 type of ball game.
But, I feel bad for the Auburn Tigers because I think that Auburn would beat the doors off of Ohio State or Oklahoma. Oklahoma has a great player in Baker Mayfield, but if you look at the totality of the Auburn Tigers, they are a tremendous football team that beat Alabama and beat Georgia at home, and they killed those teams by double digits. So they're a team that if they get to the playoff are going to be tremendous. They're a complete football team. The problem with the Auburn Tigers, Shenko, is that they cannot sustain this level of play. They're exhausted. They're dead tired. Georgia's coming in for revenge. Georgia has had tune-up games against average opponents. The Georgia Dome will be 65% dog. It's going to be the loudest environment Auburn's going to play on. It's like a true road game. Kerryon Johnson's banged up. It's a perfect spot for Georgia. Everybody's crowning Auburn right now. UGA is going to come in. And I think that UGA is also going to win the game, but I feel really sad for Auburn that they won't win the game. And Shenko, do you know that Auburn's coach Gus Malzahn, he's voiced out, well, there's rumors that he wants to go to Arkansas because he's from there, and that job is now open. So that's kind of an awkward spot for the head coach of Auburn. So I'll take Georgia as well. Here's the next game, Shenko. I think Miami plays up to their competition. I think their defense is nasty.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still going to go Clemson, but I think Miami is going to really hang in there and give them a game. I think that's going to be an awesome football game, man. I wouldn't be totally shocked if the Hurricanes actually win. What about you?
Yeah, I mean – the way the Hurricanes have been playing recently, obviously they had a really bad loss to Pittsburgh, a losing squad who they should have beaten single-handedly last week. I think they're going to be up this week, very much so. But, I just feel like, this is a huge game, for both parties, lots at stake. But with Miami, the way they're playing right now, I really can't see how they're going to be able to compete with Clemson. Because I feel like Clemson just played much better competition this year. They definitely have what it takes to be in the college football playoff. The number one team in the country. And the way their defense has always been playing all year long, they've continued to have their nose to the football. They play sound football, very fundamentally sound. And when you watch this team play, I really enjoy watching Clemson. I feel like they're the real deal, and I really think that Clemson will win this game. It's going to be a close game, but I think Clemson pulls away late. I would say like 27-17 ball game.
I think Clemson is a national championship caliber football team. Brett Venables, that defense, they have NFL talent all over the field. The Syracuse game happened, but dude, in every single test, their defense has been amazing. When Lamar Jackson was hot in the beginning of the year, and it was before the Petrino stuff happened at Louisville, and Petrino and that arena in Louisville has been rocking. They go to hostile environments and they drill opponents. South Carolina's not a bad team whatsoever. Jake Bentley's not a bad quarterback. They destroyed South Carolina on the road at Bryce Stadium there, at Williams-Brice Stadium in Columbia, South Carolina. A crazy rivalry that is for that state. And Clemson's a fantastic team, Shenko. So I think Clemson has a wonderful chance, along with the Georgia Bulldogs, to win a national championship. And then Wisconsin, Ohio State, I totally see this game being very low scoring. Wisconsin playing beautiful football. It's going to be like Michigan State and Iowa. Wisconsin, Alex Hornibrook is not a good quarterback really at all. He can't scare any defenses. And if he makes one or two good throws a game, you're impressed. Now, Jonathan Taylor's a good running back. JT Barrett's going to cause a little bit of problems. I see Ohio State last minute drive just breaking the hearts of the Wisconsin Badgers, kind of in the way that Michigan State broke Iowa's heart a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I see a dogfight, though. I think Wisconsin is for real. Jim Leonard, that defense, man, is awesome. Wisconsin's defense.
I'm not sold.
They're boring as hell, but they're very disciplined.
I understand all that. They're very disciplined, very sound, but I'm still not a believer in this Wisconsin squad. I feel like they're gonna have a very tough test this week. They even struggled, to Michigan a couple weeks ago, and I don't even think Michigan's even that good of a football team.
Right.
And I mean, I know they played Ohio State tough, but that's different. That's a rivalry game, so a lot of stakes are high that game. But when you look at this team, the way they've been playing all year, yes, they've won every game, but I just feel like they're just a team waiting to lose. And I feel like I don't think they can handle playing with the big boys. I know it's kind of similar to saying, I feel like if they played UCF, I feel like Wisconsin would even struggle at UCF, and they're both undefeated right now. And, the type of, components that they've played all year, that doesn't really match up, for them being, so high right now. But
I think they can play with anybody, but their offense is just, they'll never put anybody away. So,
but that's why I don't think they can hang with anybody, especially in the top four. They have no shot if they ever played Oklahoma. Oklahoma just run them off the field. Like I feel like it would be no contest there.
I actually disagree. Like,
really? Wow, really?
I actually think their defense I think that'd be a dogfight too. Like, I don't think Wisconsin get blown out by anybody. Their defense is that good,
Well, I don't think they can even stop, I don't think they even have a chance to stop Baker that game.
What do you think about Clemson?
Baker's been playing like crazy.
I'd love to see that matchup. What do you think about Clemson? Clemson would be a good game, Clemson, Wisconsin as well. I kind of would like Wisconsin to win. They've been undefeated. It would be pretty cool story to see them win, and then we get to see them in the playoff versus like an SEC caliber team. I'm telling you, man, Wisconsin can play with any team in this country. They just have awful passing game. It's the one thing that's their Achilles heel. They have no quarterback play whatsoever. And that's something that you really need to pay attention to because they have no explosive plays in the passing game, and Hornibrook is going to bite them this game. And you always wait for their heart to be broken. I can't wait though, Shenko. So you know what, Shenko? Let's give our final four, okay?
Absolutely.
And I already changed my mind on the Wisconsin Ohio State game just now. So
sure.
I'm
I want to hear
actually
you.
going to get my note. Let me get my note for 1 second, Shenko. I need to shut a door for 1 second. And
All
then
right.
we are going to then give our final four before we jet out of here, Matt.
Absolutely, man. I'm going to keep the show rolling here. And, before Spencer gets back, hope you guys are enjoying your week out there. It's been a tough week, obviously, for everybody. I'm sure it's a long week, but hey, we're living here. We're loving life. And,
I can't wait for Saturday,
the
Shenko.
roll.
And thanks again for the pod, man. It's been great to just kind of get out the Giants. And I think that it really was like the emotions were so strong like a couple of days ago. And now it's kind of a little melancholy, but, it's sure going to be interesting to watch, everything transpire. So let's go, Shenko. I'll let you step up first, man. Give your predictions for all the games this weekend. And on Sunday morning, what's the playoff?
I'll tell you what, the playoff is as simple as this. Clemson's going to be number 1. They're going to beat Miami, as I've said, 27-17. Number 2, I'm going to pick Georgia. I really like Georgia getting in as the winner there. They're going to be number 2. Number 3, I think Oklahoma will be right there, sitting there again. I think they'll beat TCU. And my number 4 team, they're going to sneak right in, man. Alabama, number 4. I really think they're the team that they're going to sneak in. Wisconsin is going to lose this weekend against Ohio State. Ohio State's going to jump up to either 5 or 6, and I just feel like with this going on, being had, I just feel like the way it's going to go down is that they're going to lose, and it's going to be exciting to see. I mean, I feel like Miami will be 5. And then Ohio State will probably move up to 6, and then I could see Penn State winning their game. If it, have a game, they'll move up to 7, and then TCU
and USC
will be 8. USC will probably move up.
Actually beat USC this weekend.
Oh, I disagree. I think it's going to be a great game. Both sides are going to battle it out
in that game, man. Stanford's balling right now, man.
I know. I'm picking the upset because I want to, but yeah, I'm excited for that team.
I'll tell you my 4. I already changed my opinion on a couple of these. Well, one, the number 1 team in the country will be the Georgia Bulldogs. They'll be the number 1 seed in the playoff.
The Dogs,
okay? And no, Avenger lost to Auburn. So then I'm going to go Georgia number 1. This Miami Clemson game is driving me crazy. I could see Miami playing out of their minds. I really can with Kelly Bryant. I could see them stopping the run. Rozier is clutch. I'm going to freaking throw the upset.
The Hurricanes. Oh, man.
I'm putting Oklahoma at number 2, Miami at 3.
Ooh,
really? And then I'm going to go with this one. JT Barrett is going to come in there, last second drive to break Wisconsin's heart. We'll wake up Sunday morning and the world will burn, go to flames as the Ohio State Buckeyes are in as your 4 seed.
Oh my God. That is a wackadoodle number 4, man. That's why that's when me and 2 make a great
Oklahoma,
podcast.
Miami, and then what is it? And then it's Georgia.
You're living in fantasy world.
And then it's Georgia, Ohio State. And then I think that, oh my gosh, I think Georgia has a great chance to win the national title. I mean, if they had a better quarterback, they would be in too. So, it's going to be incredible, man. I can't wait to see how this all shakes out on Sunday. See who was correct, see who was wrong. These are toss-up ball games. Clemson losing would be insane. These are toss-up ball games, and we'll see what happens, all right?
Yeah, man. You're living in a fantasy world.
That's what's going to be tremendous. All righty, Shank.
There you go.
We'll see you, buddy. Great pod, per usual.
Take care, guys.